All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geeky Misfit podcast. I am your host, the Geeky Misfit himself, Jalen Coleman. And our guest today, I am a big fan of. I'm very excited to speak to him. He's been in such projects as Love Is, Black Lightning, Charm, City Kings, and oh my God, what did I just most recently see you in? Lovecraft Country. Phenomenal episode, one of my favorite episodes of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Will Catlett.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling, trying to get over this little jet lag. But other than that, brother, it's a pleasure to be here talking with you.
Likewise, man. I'm really and I'm sure, I've watched a lot of your interviews and I'm sure you're used to doing interviews. I know a lot of people would tell you, hey, I'm a fan of yours and etc. But I'm really a fan of good acting, man. And I feel like you're a tremendous actor. I watch your interviews. I like a lot of this, I get a lot of insight from the stuff that you say. So I'm excited for this also just for selfish reasons, because I feel like it'll be therapeutic for me as well, just to kind of, pick your brain a bit.
So, oh, yeah, man. Brother, look, I'm here for you. I'm here to be of service.
Yeah. No, I definitely appreciate it. One of the first things I actually want to speak about is a video that I saw you do an interview where you were talking about it's okay to be okay in the silence, which was something that I thought was very profound.
You want me to speak on that?
Yeah. If you can just elaborate. What you were saying in that was something I feel like people just need to,
Yeah. On your end, it's a little choppy on your end.
Yeah, I know. It's like a little delay. I'm trying to, when I tell you I had a hell of a day trying to get because I had another interview prior to this. So in the morning, the Wi-Fi on my spot wasn't working. I had to jump to 2 different locations just to make this work.
Yeah, so. It's all good. Yeah, nah, man. When James Bland were interviewing me for Giants, they asked me a question. I can't even remember what the question was, but when it came to being okay in the silence, is because when you're okay in the silence, you understand that everything is working together for your good. You just have to silence yourself and quiet the noise. Right. Because as an example, you see so many people seeming like they're ahead of you, and then you'll get to comparing yourself.
Yeah.
But when you silence yourself and say, I'm okay in the silence because I know that everything that is inside of my heart that I'm supposed to do, I did put it there. And God is going to bring that thing out. But I have to be okay. It makes me think of Elijah. When Elijah runs off from Jezebel and goes to the cave, and God asks him, what are you doing there? And his voice is not in the earthquake, it's not in the fire, but it's in a small, still voice. So in that silence moment, you can get still with yourself and say, listen, everything that I'm doing is not in vain. The things that I want to do will come to pass. But are you willing to be okay in that silent moments to wait on the thing that is beating so loud inside of yourself?
Another one of the things that I admire about you is that you're a God-fearing man. So did you grow up in a church? Was your mom and your dad kind of were they also very God-fearing and they instilled that in you?
No, not really. I remember my mom catching the Holy Ghost in the church, and I kept trying to pull her down because I didn't understand.
As a kid, it's real shocking. You're like, wait, what?
I didn't understand what that was, but a lot of times I would see my dad go put his suit on and tie and go to church, so watching him go and having that experience with my mom is something that, I kind of just kept doing, kept doing. But my high school girlfriend is the one that really turned me on to really meet Christ, the person, because she was going to a church called Macedonia. And Pastor Hamlet was the pastor, and he preached a message. Is anything too hard for the Lord? And I was just crying. And my boy Jimmy, we was on the same football team, and he was like, "Do you want to go up? Do you want to go up?" And I was like, "Nah." I wasn't ready at that time yet, but God had already touched me, and from there, it just kind of being around it and around it and around it. But once you meet God, it's like your life will never be the same.
Do you find it I guess difficult kind of being in the entertainment industry and being God-fearing? Is there kind of Are there things that present itself that you find hard to navigate?
Not really, because Will Catlett and the man of God, they're separate, but they work together.
Mm,
And a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I can play all kind of roles, risque roles, because I
yeah,
understand those principles. You know, some people may not never meet God in the church or in a setting that's fitted for to meet God.
right.
It may be on set. I may be using profanity in the role that I'm playing. But when then you meet the person Will, you know what I'm saying? You get an introduction to the one that is living inside of Will. So I think when believers look at it that way, it allows you to be more flexible and to have a longer reach. This is why it's so important for you to shine. You know what I'm saying? It says arise and shine so that men may see your good works and glorify God in heaven. So if you don't arise and shine and them see you shining in the field of your interest, then how can they ever serve somebody they would never know? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful way to look at it. I don't think I've ever heard anyone, put it that way. I don't think most
Yeah,
people
it's like
also
yeah,
could
it's
separate
like
the two.
yeah, it's like what you doing right now.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? You speak to all kind of people
yeah,
that will come on your podcast. But when they sit with you and look into your eyes, it's like, oh man, there's something different about this brother.
yeah,
Sometimes it's not always in Jesus' name. Sometimes it's a handshake. Sometimes it's a hug. And once someone has that encounter, it's like, oh man, something was different. I look forward to those moments. I had a moment like that on Lovecraft Country when the barber was cutting my hair. He was explaining to me, he just opened up, hey, me and my wife been trying to have a child, and we haven't been able to have a child in 6 years.
wow,
That's easy for us in the family that I'm in, the church that I belong to. We have all kind of babies. People come all the time that the womb is closed and they can't
mm,
have children. So for me, that was an opportunity to say, hey, if you will believe,
yeah,
just go buy something from Target. Go get a onesie from Target. What do you want to have? A boy? Go buy a boy onesie from Target. And your wife will hold the baby. Now they have a
wow,
beautiful boy. You know what I'm saying? And that was just what 9 months and some change ago when I did Lovecraft from that time. So, you know what I mean? I look forward to those opportunities.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that means that's stories like that always make me realize it's greater than us, because that means you were meant to have that part for that. You get me? Like, if nothing else, you were meant to have that interaction.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
it's so beautiful you say that, because when I went to go audition with Kim Coleman, beautiful casting director who I love
yeah,
so much,
incredible. Yeah,
giving me so many breaks. She gave me my break for Love Is. She gave me my break for Lovecraft. And when I went to audition for the role, there were two actors, the man from Family Matters, and I forget his name. Um, and then there was Malcolm Goodwin, another great actor who I admire, super
yeah,
talented. And we both were all auditioning for the same part. And I said to myself, I was walking back to the car, I'm like, any one of us can get this part. We're both equally talented. But when I got it, echoing what you just said, when that happened with the barber, then I knew that no, not any one of us could have got it. It was only meant for me to get it, to be able to open his wife's womb so this baby may come forth. So those moments, we go back to being okay in the silence.
yeah.
When you're okay in the silence, then you're like, oh, it's going to work out for me. Just like that role manifested itself just for that moment. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that, you just be like, man, God, you blow my mind every single time.
I'm also curious, with what you're saying and being okay in the silence. I'm curious where your head was, or where you were at in life, when Love Is was airing, and then it unfortunately got canceled, which I'm still mad about. But were you like, what was your reaction to it?
Well, I'm trying to go back to that moment. Um, I didn't really have a reaction to it because, one, I was shooting Black Lightning at the same time the news came out that it wasn't going to go anymore. And I wasn't upset about it, but as an artist, when you see your other people booking shows and you're not really getting anything at that time, being okay in the silence. The noise starts to get loud. What am I doing? Am I all this different noise? It's not true. They're lies. But you have that war in between yourself. And so I remember that moment. I read a book by Caroline Leaf called Switch on Your Brain. And it was talking about how you can't afford to think negative because the neuroplasticity in your mind begins to shape and change. At that time, I had to think about, hey, you can't get negative. You got to be okay with the situation right now.
Yeah.
And then boom, Charm City Kings comes. Boom, this other thing comes. So, but there was moments where it was tough, because you're like, man, we was just getting started to tell that story. But it's kind of like the Bob Marley effect. When you put that much love into the universe, you have opposing forces who try to stop it, because kids were naming their children Nuri and Nasir.
Yeah.
I've met people on planes that were saying, me and my husband was on our way to divorce, but when we watched your show, we're so much better now. We're happily married now. So it was bigger than just a television show, and you can't go back to the people who make the decision and say, hey, I think you guys pulled the plug too soon, because everything works together for the good. But I think it did its job, and I think it would do more at a later time.
Yeah. It was much deeper than just there's a lot of shows that deal with love, a lot of romance shows, but there was really something about it that was different, where I binged the whole first season, and I was just really fascinated by it, by the characters, by the writing and the performances, because it all just felt so pure and authentic too.
Yeah. We had a great cast, Idara, Tyrone, Michelle, Kadeen, all the guys in the writer's room.
Yeah.
And the people that guest starred too. It was almost like Love was teaching us about love.
Yeah.
At the same time we're going through it. Because, when you're on set, you're working long hours. I mean, there's one day I worked 21 days straight.
Wow.
To the point where we're in the end of the scene, episode 10.
Yeah.
I can't remember any lines. I've never experienced that before, where you've studied the lines, but you hit a burnout phase where no matter what you do, the line is not going to come.
Yeah.
Because your mind is tired. But talking about teaching you about love, but Mara, and I wanted to cry. I was in the scene with Michelle. It was 3 a.m. She's killing it. She got a monologue and all that. She's killing it. And I'm just, nothing's coming. And you feel so naked as an artist. You want to cry. You want to walk out. And I remember saying, man, this is just like the worst on-camera beating that I'm taking right now. And Mara said, nope, you're going to take this love. You're going to let go of perfectionism. You're going to take this love, and I'm going to feed you these lines. And she fed me each line that I needed to say, or when I would get stuck. And when they showed the scene, it was so funny, because all that I was saying, I didn't need to say. And when they cut it together, I said, ooh, you killing that scene. Even though in the moment it felt like you were trash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you killing that scene. All the words that were written didn't need to be said. So God intervened in that moment to cause my mind to be tired, so that I didn't say much, because there was nothing that I needed to say but to listen. You know what I'm saying? So that was a gift right there. So it's all, like I said, it all comes together.
What's also interesting about one of the things you just said, because the guest that I literally just spoke to, we were talking about, she got to film a death scene where she died, right? And she said, to be an actor, you also have to have endurance, because she said they were shooting that scene for like 21 hours. She was just like, she kept dying and dying. And most people look at acting as something that's just, I want to be an actor, and they don't realize the amount of hard work that really goes into it, and the long hours, and the 12-hour plus days that go into it. I know you also grew up playing basketball. You were a basketball player. Do you think that helped you in that aspect?
Yeah, because it gave me my drive.
Mm-hmm.
I have a drive that is out of this world. I can identify when Will Smith says, if we both on a treadmill, either I'm going to die, or you're going to quit. Yeah. It just gives you that drive to succeed like no other. and you learn how to persevere, because with basketball, there's so many different challenges. Your knees hurting, or not getting to the level you want to play, sitting the bench, getting cut, all those things, adds to character and endurance. So when I'm acting, I can pull from that. And it's the same thing, like even when you're working out,
Yeah.
When you push in that last rep, what I'm saying? You push through that last hour on set. It's a lot of times it's hurry up and wait on set.
Right.
Like I just shot a scene on Black Lightning that literally I could have been done in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. But the way everything was structured and how they were shooting and how they were block shooting, I'm on set for 10 plus hours. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes you be like, come on, y'all, listen, I could have shot this already. But then you remember when you wasn't working, when nothing was going on, when you was laying on the floor saying, Lord, do something. I'm too talented not to be on TV. I'm too talented not to be in movies. You start to remember those moments and you become grateful that you're there, and then you still had those moments when you remember all that, and then you be like, yeah, but still, y'all could have shot this scene like 10 hours ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, those are the things that, it's the beauty of the work.
Let's talk about Black Lightning for a bit, because I'm a big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of the Arrowverse. I've had, I guess you're the third guest from the Arrowverse on my podcast. A young lady that I just spoke to, she's on Arrow, and then I had another actor that was on Arrow. Before you booked Black Lightning, were you a fan of the show? Were you familiar with any of the other shows in that universe?
No, not at all. I was just a fan of Salim and Mara.
Yeah, two incredible legends.
I met Salim at a organization called the Mokeep Men of Color Entertainment Industry. He came and spoke 7 years prior to me getting that role.
Yeah.
And I saw him at the Whole Foods downtown 3 months prior to me getting that role. Wow. So, I wasn't too much, familiar with the Marvels, the DCs, I don't watch much television.
Gotcha, yeah.
I probably should watch more, but I like to live life more so that I can bring something to the role.
Absolutely.
But once, I was in there, I was just like, oh, let's go, and two episodes in season 1 turned into 4 seasons.
That's crazy. And that doesn't, that's not a typical thing, I know, with actors and with show business.
Oh yeah, nah. Usually that role was supposed to be, done at episode 2. But when I made my mind up, going back to being okay in the silence, the things that you do in the silent time, you will be rewarded outwardly. So in my silent moment, I was saying, Lord, I'm going to go here and I'm going to do the best that I can do. I'm not worrying about that it's only 2 episodes guaranteed, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the best job that I can do. And I remember shooting that first scene. It wasn't going well. And the director comes over and says, hey, and the director Salim, hey, it's loving here. It's this here. I look outside over by the trees, and I just say, you've been here before, man. This is your time. And I always tell this story because I put on that Meek Mill's Young Nigga Fuck That Checkup. Yeah. And that's what I needed.
Which is ironic because
it's into that mode. You know what I'm saying? To get into that mode. And Lala was born from the time that I went to the trailer, put the music on, and came back. It was a totally different cat. And I was like, oh, I get it. And then, boom, once I did that scene, it was like, don't kill him. Don't kill him. You know, he got to come back. And the rest is history.
Can you talk a bit about, I'm a filmmaker myself, I'm a writer and director, and I'm always just constantly wanting to grow and learn, especially as a director. I want to be able to help the actors make sure they get to the performance they need and make sure they have a comfortable set environment. What are some of the things that, I guess, the best directors that you've worked with, what have they done that really stood out to you as an actor?
Well, it makes me think of Nima Barnett. And Nima Barnett.
She's great, yeah.
And Love Is. She said, oh, well, I get it. You're like the greats. You're like the Denzels and them. You need more rehearsal time because you're still figuring out what you want to do. I've got your rhythm now. It's a rhythm. It's a song and a dance for you. You can't just come and set the cup on the counter and say that this cup is set here and they blocked it already with the stand-in. It's not really going to work for you because you have to understand why the cup was set there. That's just how your mind thinks. You feel your way through the scenes. And she understood that. And I believe that's why episode 8, When the Weather Divine, was so impactful and went so viral, because she understood not only my rhythm, but the rhythms of the actor. And the director must always understand the rhythm of each actor. Everybody needs something different. So you can't approach, let's use Kofi in Queen Sugar.
Yeah.
You can't direct Will like you direct Kofi. You can't go direct Will and then come direct Kofi like you direct Will. We're two different instruments, maybe similar in a lot of ways, but he may require something different than I require. So when the director is always listening in those moments to see what does the actor need, then you're able to get that performance that you need. Because some actors, you may just need to push or give them one note.
Yeah.
Some actors don't like too many notes because it confuses them. You know, some people like myself, I like faster, slower, or put a little more on it. I understand what that is. Like when I was working with director Oz Scott, I used to say, Will, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to do it like this, and then boom, 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 boom. You got me? I understand that. To somebody else, they might not understand what he just did. I understand because he's giving me an energy, and I know how to transfer that into something. Now, some people might say, well, Osby, you talking with his hands, but he's a legend. You know what I mean? So if you're listening, you can understand what he means. And for me, that would help me because it let me go inward in order that I can bring something outwardly. So it's just, and then directors that have control over their crew. That's very important, and being prepared so that you're not wasting people's time, So when a director is prepared and can man that crew, and when the director has the grip on the crew, the crew is late, they're ready, especially if you're shooting a lot of night scenes too, because your crew can get burned out unless you really have that crew in your hands and they can trust that you know what you're doing. Because if not, the cameraman would try to become the director.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen silently, and he's like, just do this. And I'm like, well, who am I listening to? Am I listening to the camera guy or am I listening to the director? Now, when
That happened to me in my younger days.
Yeah, when I was shooting Force of Nature with Michael Polish, who's a brilliant human being and a brilliant director. Michael lets the camera guy to do more of the blocking. You know what I'm saying? But he is the brains. So you understand the dynamic. So go ahead and tell him that. So Michael, so go ahead and tell him how you want to block. Now, Michael can sit back and worry about the performance, So it's just, as an actor too, understanding those moments. Everybody is different. And sometimes you may, as an actor, you may want your rhythm to be like this, but it may not be that happening for you like that on that day. You have to adjust too. So it's just like, for instance, I give one more example. Mary Lou Bell, director, won Emmys, brilliant. And she's like, Will, we're going to do a series. I'm like, okay. And you're going to do it like this, and I'm going to walk you through it. Now, a lot of times, I know a series means, for those who don't know, is that you're probably going to run that line 3 or 4 times. And then they're going to go to the next line, and then they're going to go to the next line because they know how they want it shot. Right. Sometimes I like to run it all the way together, all the way through. So I have to surrender that, okay, how I thought I wanted to do it in my mind, and trust that this incredible director, Emmy Award winning director, will catch me and lead me to the promised land. So it's a lot of giving and receiving, letting go, grabbing, all at the same time.
One question that I've been asking a lot of the actors on my podcast is, you look at someone like Sam Jackson, right? His career, he's probably the most hardworking actor. He's probably somewhere on set shooting right now, right? You look at someone like Daniel Day-Lewis, who takes his time in between projects, and he's not, he's a little bit more picky with what he picks. Would you, I guess, if you had to model your career more closely related to one of them, who would you rather be the guy that's always on set working, or are you a bit more like, I'd rather take my time and pick projects that I really want to work on?
I think it's a little bit of a blend of both for me. Because there's a season for everything underneath the sun. There's time where you work like a Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
But then there's time where you take 8 years off and people forget about you. And then you come back and kill a role and you're nominated all across the board because social media didn't rob you of your creativity to be a chameleon in the role. What I mean by that, sometimes when you're so visible, all they can see is you and they can't identify with the role. So Daniel Day-Lewis can morph because where do you really read about Daniel Day-Lewis? Where do you see Daniel?
Rarely any interviews or anything,
You don't see him. So when he shows up on screen, it's like, wow, he was that guy. So it's a little bit of both for me. You know, I want to do the Daniel Day-Lewis work and be able to do that, you know, especially when you have a family and building a family. And sometimes you need to take a break from the craft in order to bring something to the craft. But right now, in my work, I'm more on the Sam Jackson path, meaning that I have to kind of accumulate a lot of work to get to a place where I can take a back seat like a Daniel Day-Lewis and say, hey, I'm going to come play Lincoln, and then I'm going to go chill for 3 or 4 years, may retire, then I may come back when I feel moved. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, he does 2 movies every 2 years or 2.5 years.
Yeah, something like that.
So I think that's important to use your visibility to reach, but don't let your visibility become the cage bird that sings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you have a you know, speaking of Daniel Day-Lewis, you know, he's like probably the most famous method actor that we have. Do you have a specific method to your acting, and have you worked with a method actor, and what was that process like for you?
Well, I'm kind of method too, you know, but for me, it's about getting the spirit of the role. You know, the spirit, there's no void in the spirit. There's nothing hidden in the spirit. So if I can understand what the spirit of Lala, who he is, which I got from listening to the Meek Mill track, right? It gave me who this guy was. I know everything that I need to know. And that will always read more so than me trying to be so method where, okay, I'm going to smoke the cigarette. Now I'm a smoker. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm doing in the scene. So I'm going to smoke every day. You know, once you get the spirit of a thing, I won't need to do that. But sometimes it may require that. This is why I believe Daniel Day-Lewis said this: do whatever you got to do to get in the role. That's different for each and everybody. So somebody might want to be method. Some people might want to be more sense memory. But whatever you need to do to get you to where you need to be, you know, and be able to come out of it too. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you can go to so many dark places that it's hard for you to come out. And if you're going to do it that way, then make sure that you put safe zones around you, meaning people to be able to pull you out if you're going to go down that path. You feel like you have to go down that path. Make sure you have some safe zones where you can recover.
Is there or rather, sorry, I just recently watched Charm City Kings, maybe like a week or two ago. It was really, you know, a tremendous film. I love the performances in it. And you mentioning that you for Black Lightning listened to Meek Mill before you know, right before making Lala. Was that something that you either mentioned to Meek, and how was it working with him? Because the scene that you guys share, I thought was probably my favorite scene in the film, because, you know, you're a working actor, you trained, and Meek, who's a rapper, but he did a really good job holding his own against you. What was that process like?
Oh man, I always tell Meek, like, you know, he can really be the Tupac of this thing. You know, you can kind of pick up what Tupac would have been, you know, he just got that natural talent. You know, his stillness, his silence speaks so loud, you know, where I had to pull back sometimes because he was so grounded in who he is that I'm like, okay, don't push too much. You know what I mean? It's a song and a dance. And I did tell him the story about, you know, the role of Lala. And he said to me, man, I was locked up, man. That's supposed to be me in that joint, you know? And we laughed about it. And he's good friends with Nafisa, who plays Thunder and Blackbird. They both from Philly. And he said, man, you know, I wish I loved it like y'all love it. You know what I'm saying? But maybe when I see myself doing it more and more, I will get that bug, like y'all got that bug. But his first love is music. But I'm excited for Meek, man. I'm excited to work with him again. I'm excited to for where God will really take him, because he has a lot of untapped potential in so many areas. You know what I mean? Not just in him being a mogul, him being a rapper, him being an actor, whatever he wants to do, he has the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was cool. It wasn't like, I ain't got nothing bad to say, you know what I'm saying? Because he was cool. He come in the trailer, what's up, Will? You know what I mean? Like it was just love, like two cats hanging out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's dope. That. Yeah.
Is there any role that you really want to play, whether it be a specific character or a real life person, or just a certain vibe that you haven't done yet that you really want to tap into?
Yeah, I would love to play Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
I would love to play that. More they have to help out with the singing part, but as far as like the story though, like his story, I would love to do that. I would love to take a crack at the Joker.
I can see that too. Okay.
I would love to do that. What else? I love period pieces. They're always good too.
Yeah.
I would definitely love to do something with Christopher Nolan.
He's like my top 3 directors right now.
Yeah, and I definitely want to do a limited series like a True Detective.
Okay, dope. Yeah, I could. You have played a cop, but
yeah, I would like to do that. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like the sky is not even the limit. I don't know where I'm going to be. In 5 years from now, because I'm really just getting started. So, and most men, like you see the Mahershala Ali's in them, they really and what's my brother name?
What was he in?
You see him, Idris. You really start to get your footing when you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
That's when you're like really aware of yourself. You have your more man body. And those guys are in their 40s, or early 40s or mid 40s. And I'm not there yet, but that's when you really start to hit your prime. Like MJ was in his late 30s when he was really in his prime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I haven't entered into that phase yet where I can really put my imprint on the game like I want to. And I'm looking forward to getting my development deal. This with Spring Hill, whether it's with Lionsgate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have so many stories that I want to produce and direct, and to be able to be that ladder that a lot of people I know need my ladder in order to climb. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, dope. Before I do let you go, man, because I know you are tired, we have a segment called Geeky Misfit Rapid Fire Questions. So the questions? The first few questions are just kind of nerdy throwaway questions. So whatever first comes to your mind. The last 3 questions are a little deeper, so you can take your time to answer those. Okay, cool. All right, Batman or Iron Man?
Batman.
DC or Marvel?
Both.
I
don't know if I could pick both, but
that's fine.
I like both.
Yeah. Pac or Biggie?
Damn. That's tough, man, because I'm from the East Coast.
Okay.
And that's a draw, man, because they both had the impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
they did.
Say that as a draw.
Okay. Introvert or extrovert?
I can be. That will be my answer to that, because I'm very. Oh.
Thought that was me for a second.
Yeah, my bad.
You're good.
Yeah. There we go. That won't happen again. Let me find you. Okay, boom. All right. Cool. So,
I was saying introvert or extrovert. You said you can be?
I can be. And that means that I'm naturally I'm an extrovert, but sometimes I can go very like introverted. It depends on who I'm around.
Okay.
Where I can just I've learned to be that way because I'm such a lover and a hugger and hey, how are you? But sometimes when you're so extroverted and you don't take time to sit back and watch the room, a lot of things don't go well for you because you haven't observed those things.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I would have never made this person my best friend if I would have watched for a little bit. If I would have sit back for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's even with business deals and acting. Sometimes you got a job, extroverted. Yeah, I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But is that what I'm supposed to do? So I can be. You know what I mean? Wherever I need to be, I can.
Gotcha. Okay. Super speed or super strength?
Super speed or super strength?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer will be the voice of the Lord on that one, because you can have speed, but if your speed is not directed, it can kill you. You can have strength, but if God is not your strength can kill you, or it can become weak. That's why he says, not by your strength, not by your might, but by my spirit. Goes back to the spirit of a thing. When you know the spirit of a thing and you have the spirit of a thing, you have the speed and strength that is behind that spirit. So I guess my answer will be the spirit of the Lord.
You gave the most thought out answer that any guest has ever given to that. But that's not my favorite answer because that was great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question: ability to fly or turn invisible?
I think the ability to fly, and the reason why is because your glory shall be seen, and I want my glory to be seen. To be invisible is almost like why. There's no point of that.
Yeah.
To be invisible, I think, as especially African American, we have been invisible all our lives. To blend in, to try to survive. So, but I believe it's our time to fly. Not just African American people, but people who have felt disenfranchised, people who have felt that they got the short end of the stick. It's not time to feel invisible. It's time to fly. It's time to rise. It's time to shine. It's time to be all that you can be. That's what I believe at the time that we're in.
Do you believe this is a little sidetrack, not one of the questions. Do you believe that the Lord speaks to you through your dreams?
Of course, he says that in Job.
Are you sorry?
So yeah, dreams tell you a lot. That's why I always tell my students in the Catlett Academy, have a journal, keep it by your side. Even Newton did this; he would tie it to his wrist. You know what I'm saying? So that boom, he'll have it, so he can catch what came in his dream. A lot of great inventions and ideas come from when you're sleeping. You're in that state of dreaming.
Okay. Okay. Next question.
What was your question? What was your full question?
Well, I was asking because I had as you were answering the question, right? I had a dream literally last night that I forgot about until you just said that, and then it just came to me and it was freaking me out because I had a dream where I was like coming down from, like, I was flying. I was coming down from somewhere, and people, was like a crowd of people, and they looked up at me and said, "Oh, look, it's Jalen." And then as they were looking, I started shaking as I'm like flying down, and they were like, "We don't know if he's going to land." And then I landed fine. I was shaking as I was coming down, then I started landing. Why I feel like sharing this information with you, I don't know, but you speaking what you were just saying just reminded me of the dream.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe the Lord, he gives the interpretation of dreams. And in that dream, I feel like the Lord is saying, never see yourself small. Because, and don't feel like you need to conform to family. Because it's almost like family they can be the people that love you, but also hold you back from where you need to be. So God is saying, fly, Jalen. I've called you to go to a certain place. Don't worry about not having enough money, not having enough finances, not having or not making it, because you will be just fine. You will always land on your feet. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
For more reasons than you know, bro. For more reasons than you know. Like yeah.
Yeah, because I'm seeing you. There's a lot of people in your family that you know inside of yourself that when you blow the way you blow, you will be able to answer the problems that can easily be answered just with finances.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't go, then you will never be able to answer those problems, not just for them, but also for yourself. So you're meant to go and be a leader and to lead your family. You know, so that's why you direct. That's why you see the things that you do. That's why you're a self-motivator. That's why you started the podcast. You're like, there's something more, there's more. But you know, it's almost like when you have a family member that says, yeah, but everybody's doing that. Can you really make it? I don't know how many actors. There's so much competition. It's like, God, like, don't worry about that. I got you. You're gonna always land because I'm controlling this thing. So I hope that helps.
It did, definitely. And I think yeah, as we were trying to, make this interview happen, with what this whole kind of conversation has been about, I think it happened today for a reason, with me having the dream last night and being able to have this conversation with you.
Oh man, beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Try to rush through the next questions. Phone call or text?
Babe, you turn up a little bit. My vibe. Yeah. Let's see. Phone call. And the reason why I say phone call, because so many things get lost in text messages. Sometimes it's hard to read the vibe or the energy of a person in a text message. But if I hear your voice, then I can tell, are you for me or you against me?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like even with, my managers and agents, like booking shows, like, congratulations, you got, it's not the same in a text message, because when they call, you can feel, oh my God, they're really excited,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say phone call. Old school.
Spielberg or Scorsese?
You can't choose. They're two legends.
Well, your answer for that might be the answer for the next question might be the same. But if you could only work with one of these two people, let me make sure you haven't, as I before I ask. But if you could only work with one of these two people, being Spike Lee or Denzel, who would you pick?
I would pick Denzel, and here's the reason why. It's because Denzel has an impartation to give me. So when he's, at I wouldn't call it the end of his race, but when he's ready to pass that torch, that's the impartation that you can only get from being in something with him. That he can give me that will cause me to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Not that Spike can't do it, but where I'm going, only Denzel can give me that.
No, you're right. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger used to be the biggest action movie star, and he did a movie with The Rock, who is now the biggest action movie star. They did The Rundown, I think, and it's a small scene where he passes by and says something to him like, "You got the torch," something small. And ever since then, The Rock, he became The Rock. So, yeah.
That's why it's so important to serve. It's so important to serve people.
Yeah.
Because they have to let you through that door that God has given them the grace to go through. That's very, very important.
Okay. Instagram or Twitter?
To be honest with you, I can do without both, but I hope Twitter stays in a place of freedom of the press.
Okay.
Because a lot of times there's so much censoring going on all these platforms.
Yeah.
You don't know which news is true. So I like Twitter in that aspect of it. I like Instagram in the aspect of I get to see, what people are doing and, congratulate my peers. Um, but even those things, man, I think those things, they have their place in time. You know what I mean? Before the next thing comes up. Like the young kids don't even probably be on Twitter and Instagram like that. You know what I'm saying? They on,
Yeah, I think TikTok has
what's they call this thing, man?
TikTok's taking
TikTok
over.
heavy. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's taking over. So it just depends on the generation, I guess.
Okay. I guess pre-COVID, would you rather have a big party or a small gathering?
Probably a medium joint.
Okay.
Yeah, probably a medium because I like stuff at the crib, stuff that's intimate. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Where you can have conversations. You know what I mean? So a medium because we can if you have a medium one, there can be different pockets where you can still get the party feel.
Mm,
But if you want to, have a Hennessy moment, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying, where you could chill, and Hennessy meaning about having a conversation, because usually cats have a conversation with some Hennessy.
Yeah.
If you want to
Yeah.
have that moment, that seemed like some jewels or something being dropped. So a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these last three questions, like I mentioned, a little deeper. What is the best advice you ever received?
I think it's got to be from Miss Mara Kill that I've received year to date. And she says, people don't stick around long enough to meet their opportunity. Well, you just got to stick around.
Wow.
And I was just like, and it just hit me at that time that I heard it. You gotta stick around. Your opportunity is in your body. It's
Mm,
there. But sometimes you just got, not sometimes, you have to stick around long enough to be able to pull that opportunity out of yourself. But sometimes people don't, you know what, it ain't working out. It's been 10, 20 years. And so they didn't stick around. We're at 20 years and 2 months, it was going to pop. You know what I'm saying? So you got to stick around long enough to get your opportunity.
what's one thing that you want to change in the world?
Hmm. I gotta think about that one because there's so many things that I
Yeah.
want to change. But I would say on a micro level, on a micro level, I probably would say I'm always laughing. I gotta go here for a second. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about Georgia. I said if I was ever the governor of Georgia, my first thing I would do is make sure no cars are just left on the side of the highway.
I mean, that's a tangible thing.
That's a tangible thing. But I
Yeah.
say on a micro level, I will make sure that people have the equal opportunity to get homes, because the
Okay.
way the system is set up for getting a home, it makes it so hard that I understand why people rent. I really do understand it.
Yeah.
So that definitely needs to be looked into and changed, especially for artists who and people who are self-employed. We're not living back 40 years from now where
Yeah.
everybody goes to a job. You know what I'm saying? So they need to open that up where you have, when you have more access, to get a home, and that's important. So that's one of the things I would change. And at the end of the day, making sure that information gets out to people that is pure
Mm,
and not, the agenda of the 1%.
right.
So that's and a lot of times that's not even like something big. What I mean by the micro level is actually having those conversations, because right now there's so many of us misinformed. You don't know where to go. You just going
Yeah.
with the hype. You know what I'm saying? If everybody marching in the street, you marching in the street. You don't even know why you're in the street. You don't
Yeah.
know if certain groups are for you or against you. You don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's whatever the media narrative is painting for you, you're running with. So I love what Miles Monroe would say. The best thing you can do is self-governing, meaning govern yourself. You know what I'm saying? So getting
Yeah.
the right tools, the right mentorship, those things where you can really make decisions for yourself. Because when you wake up in the morning, there's so many things speaking to you. What is really your decision? You know, there's someone telling you there's this audition. There's someone telling you that this job is here. There's someone telling you this. There's someone saying you shop at this grocery store. What is really your own decisions? You know, it goes back to our conversation earlier. Being okay in the silence so that you can figure out those things so that you can make your own decision.
Man. Okay. The final question is, if you can go back and give a younger you some advice, what would you tell yourself?
If I can go back and talk to Bay, that's what everybody called me growing up, what would I tell myself? I would say love people, but love yourself more. And what I mean by that is,
might have helped me actually.
Right. What I mean by that, I was a kid that naturally just loved people. So when you love people, sometimes you put yourself on the back burner and you become a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Where you'll do anything that people want you to do. And that means that you will never have your own decisions. You never have your own thoughts because you want to be liked. And the truth of the matter is when it says love yourself as you love your neighbor, meaning that the love that you've given to people and pleasing people is false anyway, because you're not giving yourself that love. It's not coming from a good place. So I always remind myself now, you know what I'm saying, Will, make sure you love yourself. And what does that look like? You know, did you get your toes done? Did you get your nails done? Did you spend time with yourself? Did you read your word? Did you have time to think today? How are you building yourself? Because how am I going to come give Jalen something if I ain't been doing nothing in my silent time for myself? You know what I'm saying? So I would say love people, but love yourself more.
Wow.
Because people are wicked. That's just a human nature. You know what I'm saying? But when you love yourself, you can give mercy to people and grace to people because you understand. This is why God is saying, forgive them, Father, because they don't know what they do. How can he say that? Because he's standing in a place of love at a high level where he can understand. They knew this love that I'm carrying, they wouldn't do what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you don't understand that love for yourself, then you become the people pleaser. You become tossed with the wind. Whichever way everybody else is going, you gonna go. You won't stand alone when you need to stand alone because you're trying to please your way through life.
Wow.
I know it's a roundabout answer, but
no, that was great. Literally, this whole conversation has been great. You know, I deeply appreciate you doing this. You know, like I said at the beginning of it, I feel like I was going to get something from it, and I did. I do feel like this interview on this podcast happened at this time, the way it happened for a reason. I can't wait to see your career take off even further. I've been telling people, yeah, absolutely. I've been telling people before you came up, even before I started my podcast. When I first started watching You Love Is, I would say he's going to be the next big, you know, Denzel, whatever name you want to attach to him. And I firmly believe that. And I'm going to speak into existence that we will work together one day. So.
Oh man, I receive, brother, and thank you for being persistent. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, sometimes people that want me to do their shows, I'll wait. I'll make them wait to see if that's what they really want to do. You know what I mean? Because that's how you weed out the people who just want you to jump on for the sake of having you on their show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, this guy, he keeps asking. Oh, okay, he's serious about this.
Yeah, no, very.
Okay. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? It's time, you know, because the people that fall off and ask once or twice, you know, life don't work that way. Sometimes you got to keep knocking at that door. You know what I mean? And at the right time, the door will open.
And what's interesting too is
I appreciate talking to you, brother. I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, no, I was just saying what's interesting was like I you know, I hit our mutual friend Edwin to make this happen, but prior, and I had a conversation with a friend that made me do this because all the guests that I've had on my podcast so far, I've got on my own, right? Like I reached out to them and said, hey, I've been interviewing people for like 5 years. This is my reel. Will you do my podcast, right? Some agree, some don't. And I had another friend who was like, hey, I know X, Y, and Z if you want them to come on your podcast. And I don't know why I was like, nah, I'd rather just, you know, get people my own way. And then speaking with a friend, he was like, man, you got to, if someone is trying to give you this blessing, if they're trying to, if you know someone that can help you get somebody, then you can reach out and ask. And I hit Edwin, not sure if he was going to, be like, no, or why are you asking this? But I think I was watching something else you were in, and I was like, man, I just really need to speak to him. I feel like it would be a very great interview and a great conversation. So I'm glad I did.
Oh man, there it is, brother. Well, look here, man. Go fly, bro.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, go fly, man.
Definitely. Appreciate you again, man. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, let me do something real quick for your
Yeah.
listeners. Lord, I just pray, Father, that everyone that listens to this episode, Lord, that their spirit will be rejuvenated, God. That where they could not open a door, Father, that door will open, God. Where, Father God, they doubted in their mind, Father, that you will restore them, Lord, that you will give them hope in their mind, oh God. Wherever depression may be, oh God, that depression will just come off of them, oh Lord, so that they can do the thing that you've called them to do, Father God. I ask that light, oh God, light will light up their path, oh God, so that they will shine like you caused them to shine. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. I was going to cry in the middle of the prayer, but definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, brother.
You enjoy the rest of your day, man.
You too, man.